Welcome to the Kindness Principles podcast. I believe kindness is a cultural strategy that empowers people to create meaningful lives, healthier relationships, stronger organizations, and a world where everyone can thrive. My name is Cindy Smarsh, and I'm really glad you're here. It's so great to be here, and I thank all of you for coming and being interested in hearing more about how kindness can be a great strategy for your lives and your businesses. I was formerly known as the Midlife Makeover Coach and really worked with people to make over their personal and professional lives to reach whatever success and happiness goals they had. And I started to feel a nudge to go bigger and do something that could affect people in their homes, in their work environments, in our schools and churches, everywhere, our communities, and across the world. And the word kindness has been firmly planted in my mind as the initiative. And as I've dug into the research on this, the research is crystal clear on how effective a kindness approach in all environments in our lives, all corners of the world that we all exist, is absolutely the game changer for whatever it is that you want in your life. And so I come today with that excitement in my mind and in my heart, and I appreciate you looking to dig deeper into what this can do for you in your life as well. I also want to ask for some kindness today. On a personal note, I am in the throes of the last stages of mammary cancer with my cat. And in about 24 hours, I'm going to have her euthanized. And I'm not sleeping well. I've been under that, kind of had that looming over my head. And I don't feel 100% myself. And so I just want to say thank you for your kind attention today and for just remembering that I'm very here for you, and my heart is struggling with that as well. And so one of the things I want you to take from today is to show up as you in your life, who you really are, and to ask for what you need. And so I hope I just modeled that in a small way. But let's get to what we're going to do today for you. So today I want to teach you what the kindness principle is and why this matters. We're going to talk about the neuroscience of kindness and how this affects you and your team. I'm going to give you the secret code to unlocking the power of kindness at work, and then talk about the depth and the benefits of a kindness-based business. So Dr. Sally, our host today, is monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, feel free to put those in the chat. If you have comments and so forth, and we'll save some time at the end to address anything that's important to you. So what is the kindness principle? Well, it is a transformative cultural strategy that empowers people to create meaningful lives, healthier relationships, stronger organizations, and a world where everyone can thrive. So that's the big umbrella of the kindness principle. But today we're going to specifically talk about the kindness code for organizations. But let's talk about the neuroscience of kindness too, because there's brain research behind all of this as well. So there is proof that kindness actually activates a reward circuitry in our brain, and it enhances our mood and it reinforces our social bonds. So it also strengthens our feelings of understanding and shared experiences. It builds deeper connections between people. And witnessing kindness even triggers the mirror neurons that prompts us to replicate the behavior we are witnessing. So, in other words, kindness not only just feels really good, it's also contagious. So, if you're looking to change your organization to a kind kindness-based culture, just start being kind and it's going to catch on. It's going to catch on. So let's talk about the kindness code and what this actually is and why it's important. Okay, so we're doing an acronym of kindness. So the letter K is know your teammate members. I mean, really know them, because one of the things I think that we forget in business sometimes, especially the larger a corporation is, so forth, is that people are people first. They're humans with full lives besides work. And when we can really connect with each other and know each other, there is something magical that happens. We're more likely to work together well and to understand each other better and be much more effective in our professional goals together if we at first show up as the people that we are and treat others with that kind of respect. So, beyond the basics, you want to acknowledge who they are outside of the office. And this is why this is very, very important. A bonus K is to keep communicating. You know, secrecy builds distrust and transparency builds trust. And the higher the levels of trust in an organization, the greater power you will have to succeed together. So that's why this is so important. Often people, when they feel left out of the loop and they don't know what's going on and people are meeting behind closed doors, it just stirs up concerns that maybe don't even exist. And it gets people hesitating and protecting themselves from what might be going on. But rather, when you're transparent, you keep communicating, feels more like a team effort. It feels more like everybody's involved and there's a sense of belonging and community. So it's very important to keep communicating. The letter I stands for integrating all aspects of your organization or your corporation. So we want to have a team mindset all the time. We also want to make sure everybody understands how their piece in the business affects all the other pieces in the business. You know, a business, a corporation is like a clock with all the different pieces in the back of it, that if one moves the other moves and it makes the clock work. And that's how an organization is. But oftentimes there are people who don't understand what their little corner of the world is and how it actually matters here, and here in the organization. So the more you can integrate all aspects, really help build an understanding of the full picture, the better off you're going to be as an organization. And then a bonus letter I, don't expect bonus letters all the time. Bonus letter I is to inspire positivity. So, mindset is one of the biggest things I teach in all my programs, because how we show up in our mind, how we choose to think, really affects what happens out here in our activities. And so you want to inspire positivity in your organization. It's because what we focus on expands. And so, do you want the darkness, the negativity, the struggles, the worries? Do you want those to get bigger and bigger? Or do you want the sense of positivity to get bigger and bigger? So, you want to keep inspiring that. And we'll discuss ways to do all of these later, or how to learn to do all of these later. The letter N is nurture the personal and professional growth of everyone. So we want to develop people, not just their skill sets. Definitely want to develop those skill sets, obviously, and provide things so people can really grow and feel like they're continuously improving and that what they do matters. But you also want to nurture them as human beings, as people. One of the examples of this that I love is the company Chick-fil-A. Now, no matter how you feel about chicken or Chick-fil-A, you vegetarians out there, whatever, um, they are a company that literally has a value of training their employees for their future employment elsewhere. A lot of their employees are going to be young people. Maybe it's the first job for a lot of these people, and they're probably not going to work all their lives at Chick-fil-A. But Chick-fil-A doesn't think about that. They think about big picture for that human being's life and how they're nurturing them as people, helping them mature as people and as employees so they can grow their skill sets, which will help them in their future careers. And I think that is just amazing. So that's an example of what nurturing people can do. The letter D is dazzle and deliver. I just love the word dazzle. So this is about wowing people, okay? Wowing people in your corporation. You want to wow the customers, you want to wow the clients, but you definitely don't want to forget to wow the people that you are working with together to reach your goals. And so this really means just going the extra mile. We can all do basic things, and most places do some basic things to make people feel good and important, but you really want to use the wow factor. And I have a great example of this in customer service, actually. But I want you to think about how you can wow your own team members, your employees, and colleagues in some way in your organization. So, the Ritz Carlton had a situation where a family came to stay with them, and one of their children had a toy giraffe that was really important to him, and he accidentally left it at the hotel. And this was his security object, and so he was just devastated at the airport. And and so the parents called the Ritz Carlton and said, "Oh, could you please look and see if we left it there, because he is so beside himself. We don't know what to do. It's just terrible. If we can somehow get that giraffe, we really appreciate it." And so the Ritz Carlton trains their employees to solve problems in whatever way they see fit. So they trust their employees, and these employees found the giraffe and told the parents, "You just let your son know that the giraffe just wanted to stay at the hotel and extend its vacation a little longer, and that he'll be home soon." So they got the address and so forth. But before they sent that giraffe off in the mail to the child's home, they took the giraffe into the dining room, set it at a table, took pictures, took it out by the pool with a towel, took a picture. They did all these things showing photographs of the giraffe's extended vacation. So the child felt better and sent the giraffe. Now that family was hooked. So they went back to the Ritz Carlton over and over and over again. So I know that's a customer service example of dazzling and delivering, but you can think of ways yourself to dazzle and deliver your own team members, so they keep coming back to work with this company day after day, and grow a real loyalty with them that will last for years to come. The next N is navigate the mission, vision, and purpose of the organization. So we want to put meaning behind the work for everyone, no matter what their role is, no matter how big or small, how long or short they've been there, whatever. We want to give them the bigger sense of the bigger picture of the organization. Why are we all here? What are we all doing here? What are we all valuing? What are we striving for? What matters here? And just keep honing in on that, and help them to figure out themselves too, like how their own personality, their own value system aligns with the organization's mission. This really buys them in to thinking of this as more than just a job that pays their bills. It's very inspiring to think I'm part of something bigger than myself. I'm part of a mission. I'm important too. And this aligns with this part of my personality, or what I've always wanted to contribute to the world. And if you can keep that kind of language going, that kind of understanding as part of your culture, this will enhance it for sure, and what you're able to deliver. The E is for empowering your team members. So you want to empower them to make decisions. You want to trust them. You want to tap into their brilliance and treat them like they are brilliant and like they know what they're doing. want to build confidence in the team. And I think the reasons are obvious. The more confident your team is, the more they're going to come up with radical ideas, the more they're going to innovate, the more they're going to dream, the more they're going to really go after, the goals of the organization and so forth. So lots of confidence building, because everybody wins when people feel really good and important and secure in their roles. And then the first S is support. And support can come in, many, many, many forms, of course. Wellness initiatives, empathy for people when they're going through a crisis, flexibility in scheduling, honest feedback is supportive. Even if you think, oh, I don't want to tell them how ineffective that was, what they did, or I don't want to talk to them about what a problem is. I know those are difficult conversations, but to give honest feedback in a respectful manner is one of the most supportive things that you can do for a colleague, a team member, an employee, to really build trust and to thrive. And then, of course, training is a form of support. So this goes on and on. There's so many ways you can support your team, but I want you to think about it on several levels. You can support them again in that personal growth, that professional growth, also support them as human beings with their regular lives, and support them to have the confidence to do their jobs and do them very, very well, and share ideas when they have them. And the last S is called succeed together. Succeed together. So the results of all of these kindness initiatives and so forth have ongoing benefits. And there's a ripple effect that keeps going and going and going. So you cannot lose using kindness in your organization. You just cannot. And so when you have a kindness-based business, there is a great depth to your business. It's not just business as usual. It's not just another place to work. It's not, but it's also not like just a fluffy, feel-good unicorns and rainbows organization. It's like an effective strategy to bring the organization together and to lift it up on a daily basis with sometimes very simple activities and choices and word choices and efforts you make, to large wellness initiatives that are a bigger splash on the culture that you are creating. So the depth of a kindness-based business really creates a positive office culture. All of this information is research-based. It encourages personal growth. It empowers your employees. It enhances their performance. It strengthens teamwork. It increases job satisfaction. It reduces turnover. It supports healthy collaboration and innovation. It nurtures a more resilient and engaged workforce. It unifies the organization. Brene Brown teaches about needing to belong, our human need to belong. And all of these kindness aspects I'm teaching you about unifies you. It helps people feel like they're in it together. It helps people feel like they belong to something that's really important. It boosts productivity rates and retention. It increases the creativity because people are feeling more confident. They're feeling secure coming up with radical ideas. It provides that sense of belonging. It alleviates stress and anxiety. Kindness initiatives are calming. They're very calming. It generates a sense of common goals and so forth. It fosters loyalty. And it elevates the company's reputation and success. So you can see a slide in front of you now that shares some very specific research. 37% more revenue per employee, 80% increase in discretionary effort, 1.5 growth compared to competitors, and 50% less volatility. 91% of leaders who balance empathy with results are rated as highly effective. 82% of consumers say they would support a brand that treats its customers with kindness. 61% are willing to pay more for that experience. And 60% of employees would take a pay cut to work for a company that values kindness and compassion. That's from Gallup 2024. So these are recent research, statistics for us. And this says a study 2022 conducted by Gallup and WorkHuman found that a 10,000 person organization with an already engaged workforce can save up to $16.1 million annually by making recognition a key part of its company culture. So kindness is a critical business imperative. Organizations that embed kindness into their leadership DNA see transformative outcomes, including higher retention and lower turnover costs, greater innovation and collaboration, improved customer loyalty and brand reputation, sustained revenue growth through engaged, high-performing teams. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And, I mentioned a moment ago about the company's reputation and success. I want to tell you a little story about a current client of mine. And I can't tell you the company, obviously, but he works for a large company and he has been on the sales team for decades with this company. And he has a great customer base, great results, has a real connection with his customers, loves them, loves the work that he does. And recently, in the last 2 years, the founders of the company, the CEOs of the company decided to change how they do customer service. They've changed the customer service model. And now this large company has customer service phone agents all over the country. And before, the sales team was simply the customer service providers as directly. And so customers were encouraged to contact the sales team directly if they had a problem with any of the product or the service being delivered. And then the sales representative could ignite the appropriate team members needed to help correct or help, solve the problems. Well, now these customers that my client has had for 20 years are not supposed to call him if they have a customer service issue. They're supposed to call one of these phone agents who sometimes, English isn't even their first language. Sometimes they don't even know much about the organization. Sometimes they don't even know how to contact my client when it's his clients. And they're to email the sales representative. So they take the call, they get the information, they email it to the sales reps who are on the road most of the time and not checking email several times a day because they're traveling a lot. So anyway, it's broken the communication between the customer and the sales representatives, and the numbers are tanking in this company that's been around for 100 years. So that's very frustrating to the customers. It's very frustrating to those on the front lines with them who can't deliver the same direct customer service they were before, and they had no say in this change. The CEOs of the company did not ask any level. They did not ask the middle management. They did not ask the sales team representatives. They did not ask anybody delivering the products or services what they thought would be a good communication change. They just implemented this new strategy, and ever since, things are going down for this company. And the frustration level, the morale of those that are still trying to serve the customer without having the same communication is increasing. And my client, for one, is wondering, can I continue to work here? It's so upsetting. So you want to be a company, you want to create a company that people are proud to work for and proud to say they work for. And you want your company's name associated with great customer service, great delivery, going the extra mile in all of these things. And so that is an example of where kindness could have really changed, made things better on several levels, and where employees would have felt more like they belong, more like they're a part of the mission, they're a part of the whole picture of what's going on. So the leaders of today and tomorrow will be those who understand that kindness is more than a virtue. It's a strategic cornerstone that drives resilience, excellence, and sustainable success in high-performing organizations. Put simply, no other leadership trait delivers the same magnitude of impact. It is the epitome of success. So I want you to do a little self-reflection now. A little self-reflection. I have 4 powerful questions I want you to ask yourself, and then we'll sum up what you've learned today or what I've shared today, and then we'll move on to your questions and comments in the chat. So the number one question I want you to ask yourself right now is, what specific efforts have you already implemented to support kindness as part of your company culture, and what results have you seen? Okay, I'm going to repeat that again so you can write it down if you want, if you need to reflect on it later, but really want you to get your thoughts rolling on what you're already doing or what you've already seen done in your organization, or what you've experienced in terms of kindness as someone working for someone. What specific efforts have been implemented to support kindness as part of the company culture, and what results have you seen? Okay, number 2. What steps could you take next to further develop a kindness-based culture in your organization? What steps could you take next to further develop a kindness-based culture in your organization? Okay. And then number 3, what kind of support would you need to further define and execute these steps? What kind of support would you need to further define and execute these steps? Okay. And number 4, how will you measure success? How are you going to measure success? What is that going to look like? What do you want to see change? How can you quantify the changes that you're seeking? Okay. All right. So I hope you'll spend some time in reflection and ask yourself those questions and see what comes up for you. Just play with these questions when you have a moment. Play around with it and see what ideas you get, see what really comes up for you. So to summarize, the kindness principle is a strategy-backed, a strategy that's backed by research. It's not just fluff. It's not just, again, it's not just, oh, let's be nice and then everything will be great. It isn't that. It's not fluffy. It's actually quite a purposeful, intentional, well thought out approach to doing business on all levels of your organization. And the neuroscience of kindness has taught us that we are wired for this. Like, it is a natural human state to be kind. We're actually made to want to do this, and it's contagious. And so you want to honor that there is that part of you, inside of you, that really does want to be kind, no matter the pressures you feel, no matter the stress you feel, no matter how overwhelmed you can get in your particular role, that what you really want is to be kind because it feels really good and it's contagious. And then the kindness code, those 8 aspects of the kindness code, you learned what they are and why they're so important. And there's so many approaches to each one of those, and gems that can really contribute to uplifting your culture to a more kindness-based culture. It's just a winning combination. And then you've learned about the depth of a kindness-based business, and the results speak for themselves. You've heard some of the research. So, do we have any questions or comments in the chat?
Well,
Sounds
these people that are here today um, are so attentive. They haven't asked any questions at all. There's
okay.
Carrie and Deborah and Annette and a couple of other folks.
Okay.
They've probably been listening while they're doing some stuff at work, or maybe they're eating their lunch. But at least they know through this slide how to contact you if they have some other questions that come up.
Yes, and you're also gonna receive a little gift for attending today. So I've created a kindness code guidebook for corporations, and so it goes through those 7 steps of the kindness code and gives you some very practical ideas about how to integrate each one of those. So under every letter, you'll have some specific initiatives that you can consider. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe to our show and share this episode with anyone who can benefit. If you'd like to learn more about how the kindness principles can change your life, please DM me on LinkedIn. And thanks again for listening.